I've always been a bit of an odd duck, a fact my ex-wife, Sarah, never hesitated to point out. While she was busy climbing the corporate ladder, I was content photographing birds in Prospect Park. I know, sounds dull, right? Well, my dull hobby led me to uncover something so bizarre, so unbelievably audacious, it still keeps me up at night. It started subtly. A missing homing pigeon here, an abnormally large flock congregating near the boathouse there. Little things that only a dedicated birdwatcher like myself would notice. I chalked it up to coincidence, natural fluctuations in the bird population. Until I saw the glint of metal. I was perched on a small rise overlooking the lake, trying to get a decent shot of a pair of Canada geese bickering over a discarded bagel. That's when I saw him. An older guy, probably in his late 60s, dressed in a ridiculously loud Hawaiian shirt and cargo shorts. He was kneeling near the water's edge, surrounded by pigeons. Not unusual. But what was unusual was what he was doing. He had a small, almost surgical, tool in his hand. As I zoomed in with my camera, I saw him carefully attaching something to the leg of one of the birds. Something metallic, too small to be a tracker, too bulky to be a simple leg band. Curiosity got the better of me. I packed up my gear and headed down towards the lake, trying to look as casual as possible. As I got closer, I could hear the murmur of his voice, a soothing, almost hypnotic drone. "All right, Frankie, you know the drill. Straight to Tony, got it? No detours. And for God's sake, watch out for those damn hawks." Tony? Hawks? What the hell was this guy talking about? I cleared my throat. "Beautiful birds," I said, trying to sound friendly. He jumped, startled, and quickly shoved something into his pocket. "Oh, yeah. They are, aren't they?" He gave me a nervous, watery smile. "You seem to have a real connection with them," I continued, cautiously. "What are you attaching to their legs?" He hesitated, then sighed. "Just leg bands," he said, avoiding eye contact. "For identification purposes. You know, birdwatching stuff." I knew he was lying. I've been banding birds for years with the Audubon Society. These weren't standard bands. "Really?" I said, raising an eyebrow. "Because they look a little bulky for leg bands." He shifted uncomfortably. "Look, buddy, it's a long story. And frankly, I don't have time to explain it to some tourist." Tourist? I've lived in Brooklyn my whole life. I was about to call him out on his bullshit when a small, nondescript pigeon took flight from his hand. It circled once, then headed straight towards Manhattan. That's when it hit me. The metal attachments. The Tony he mentioned. The pigeons flying towards the city. He wasn't banding birds. He was. "You're smuggling drugs, aren't you?" I blurted out, the words hanging in the air like a bad smell. He froze. All the color drained from his face. I don't know what you're talking about," he stammered. But I saw the fear in his eyes. I knew I was right. "Prospect Park is a public space," I said, my voice hardening. "I'm calling the cops." He grabbed my arm, his grip surprisingly strong for an old man. "No, please, don't do that. You don't understand. I need the money." I ripped my arm away. "Need the money? To fuel a drug operation? That's your excuse?" He looked around nervously, then pulled me closer, his voice a desperate whisper. "Look, just hear me out. My wife, she's got cancer. Bad cancer. The treatments are astronomical. I lost my job years ago. I don't know what else to do." I stared at him, torn. I'm not a cop. I'm a birdwatcher. A guy who likes taking pictures of ducks. But this was bigger than me. This was about drugs, about crime, about enabling addiction. "I'm still calling the cops," I said, my voice firm. He sagged, defeated. All right, you win. Just, please. Can you give me a few hours? Let me get out of here before they arrive." I hesitated. It was against everything I believed in. But seeing the desperation in his eyes, the sheer weight of his situation, I couldn't help but feel a sliver of empathy. 3 hours, I said. 3 hours, and then I'm calling them. And if I see you back here, ever, I'm calling them immediately." He nodded, his eyes filled with a mixture of relief and shame. "Thank you," he whispered. "Thank you." He quickly packed up his things, gathered his remaining pigeons, and disappeared into the trees. I watched him go, my mind reeling. I spent the next 3 hours wrestling with my conscience. Should I have let him go? Was I complicit in his crime by giving him a head start? Was I being a bleeding heart, letting a criminal manipulate me with a sob story? 3 hours later, I called the police. I told them everything I saw, everything I knew. They were surprisingly receptive, even slightly amused by the whole pigeon smuggling aspect. They swept the park, but the old man was gone. Vanished without a trace. The only evidence they found were a few stray feathers and a lingering smell of birdseed. Weeks turned into months. I kept going back to Prospect Park, searching for any sign of the pigeon smuggler. But he was gone. It was as if he had never existed. I started to question myself. Had I imagined it all? Was it just a bizarre hallucination, brought on by too much sun and too little sleep? Then, one day, I received an anonymous package in the mail. Inside was a small, intricately carved wooden bird, a pigeon, with a tiny metal band around its leg. And a note, simply stating, "Thank you. She's getting better." I still don't know if I did the right thing. Maybe I should have turned him in immediately. Maybe I should have offered to help him find another way. But I made a choice, based on what I saw, what I felt in that moment. And sometimes, I still see a flash of a pigeon, a little too fast, a little too purposeful, flying towards Manhattan. And I wonder if Frankie and his feathered friends are still delivering their illicit cargo. And I wonder if Sarah would have thought I was so weird if I brought home a story like this during our marriage.